If you checked out my video from yesterday, then you know that the Ram 1500 all-electric REV is now officially canceled. And quietly Ram changed the name of the hybrid Ram 1500 from the RamCharger to the canceled Ram REV name, which is very, very interesting to me. And that move frees up the RamCharger name for something new and something pretty interesting. And what if I told you that Ram could perhaps reintroduce an SUV to their brand, and the RamCharger name seems to be a really cool idea to use for that vehicle? Okay, more than 51,000 friends, and the 56% of you guys who are watching have subscribed. The original RamCharger sold in North America about, 20-some years before it discontinued in the 90s, until a couple of years ago, I think back in 2023, when Ram revived the name for the plug-in hybrid Ram 1500 that's supposed to have a Pentastar as a gas generator for the electric truck. Well, but as I said in the actual intro, the RamCharger name has been removed from that Ram plug-in hybrid, and now it's free again to be used in whatever vehicle that my dear friend Tim Gniskis has up his sleeves. And I think he may do something pretty interesting. And that's why I figured, why not bring an SUV back to Ram? The SUV segment is one of the hottest and most popular markets. Brands like General Motors use one body for all the full-size SUVs, and they have it spread across multiple brands. You got like the Chevy Tahoe, the Chevy Suburban, get a GMC Yukon, GMC Yukon XL, GMC Denali, GMC Denali XL, Cadillac Escalade, Cadillac Escalade ESV. So you literally got 8 different vehicles from one body style. And for Stellantis, they only use a platform like the Wagoneer, only for Jeep brand. There are no other versions of the Wagoneer for Dodge, Ram, or even Chrysler. And sales for the Wagoneer are horrible. I mean, that vehicle has been appearing in a special guest spot on the worst selling list multiple times over the last few years, and that vehicle does not resonate with customers. And I think it's time that maybe they spread across the Wagoneer to other brands, do a few little tweaks, and reintroduce it to other brands like Ram, for example. And now that the RamCharger name is available, maybe that is a very good idea for them to do so.
And one of the most important things to do is share the initial investment, the platform investment. And that's why when we had our investor day, Carlos Tavares talked about platform sharing.
So you've seen that, you heard that, right? They can actually do platform sharing to help spread the costs of the actual Wagoneer, which would make a lot of sense to spread across multiple brands. But I know, the old RamCharger was a 2-door full-size SUV, but in this day and age, I don't see that body style ever returning. 4 doors are way more practical, and especially for something of that size, right? Just like how Dodge brought back the Charger as a 4-door only vehicle, well, the previous generation of the Charger and stuff, I can see them doing the same thing with an actual new RamCharger. Instead of having a 2-door SUV for Ram, maybe do a 4-door SUV for Ram, and hopefully they have the interior based off of the Ram 1500 trucks. And the Wagoneer should be literally around the same size as those vehicles, since they work on the same platform. But like I said, it does make a lot of sense to me for Ram to have an SUV, because the Wagoneer, as I said, is essentially built off the same chassis as the regular Ram 1500 trucks is. So the same drivetrain should fit in that vehicle. And we can see plenty of engine options from, I don't know whether they're gonna bring a Pentastar back in this day and age. I think that engine is basically getting phased out over the next few years and stuff. I mean, we can see a HEMI, the 5.7 and stuff like that. We can see the Hurricane engines, either the small output or the high output versions of it, and maybe even a Hellcat powered RamCharger. And maybe it can have like a TRX front clip that show you in this photo right here that somebody did a rendering of. And I think that would be pretty cool, because really the only thing they got to do is take a Wagoneer, basically bolt up the front TRX front clip on it, and do some rear sheet metal changes to give it some humps in the rear. And I think that basically that's all they got to do to basically make a decent looking RamCharger. And they can make a TRX looking SUV. They can build it at a plant that they're already building the Wagoneer over that Warren assembly plant alongside the Wagoneer, which is only a few minutes down the road from Shap that makes the Ram 1500 in the first place. So with all the platform sharing that Stellantis said they would do back in 2021, I mean, the Wagoneer has to spread to multiple brands in order to help pay back the investment that is done on that vehicle, because as a Jeep only product, the Wagoneer is not doing too hot. And I think that's why they're like, you know, go ahead and throw a fresh face on it and stuff, but coming later this year. I showed this picture right here. And I think that's why they're trying to see whether or not, if they make it into a hybrid or whatever. I can't remember when it's a hybrid based off the RamCharger, or a hybrid based off of the Jeep 4xe system, wherever. I put an article right here to show you guys what the hybrid is based off of, because I don't remember off the top of my head. But at some point, you know, there needs to be a Wagoneer spread across multiple brands. Now, at one point in time, word around the campfire was that the Durango was going to move to the same platform as the Wagoneer, but rumors had it to where that was not going to be true, because they were saying that the Durango is going to be made at Windsor, which at that particular plant, Windsor makes only sell large vehicles. So that's where the actual Charger is built at. That's where the actual crossover Chrysler vehicle was supposed to get built at before that got basically, well, they just basically shut it for a few months. I don't know when that vehicle will be canceled or not. We may hear announced about that pretty soon. But there was a pretty big rumor that Durango replacement was going to be there at Windsor and stuff. It was probably going to be EV only as the Stealth. And then I know it got so big to the point that UAW started questioning Stellantis and stuff. And I think they put out a statement about it a little while ago once I guess Stellantis committed that the Durango is going to be staying there at Jefferson. And then there was another rumor that Chrysler was going to get like a Wagoneer type vehicle for that brand, but who knows when or if that will happen, because we seen from Chrysler that was it, the Airflow was looked like a production ready looking car on the outside and stuff. And I think that would have been a cool little SUV for them to bring to the brand. But then their new rookie CEO said, nah, I want something a little more aggressive or whatever. And for the 250th anniversary of Chrysler, they announced 0 new cars when they could have announced that car right there and basically started rolling down production line this year. So we'll just have to see what is actually going to happen with Chrysler and stuff. But I mean, I think, you know, a good sign points to this RamCharger name being taken off of the hybrid. I think this name change is basically has to happen for some reason. I think there has to be some reason Ram changed the name from the RamCharger on the hybrid to the Ram REV for the hybrid version. And now that RamCharger trademark is just sitting there collecting dust yet again. I mean, the RamCharger fits perfectly for a Ram truck that you could charge. So that's why I'm like, okay, it makes sense for a Ram hybrid that you got to charge up and stuff. But it just doesn't make sense to me that why would Ram change the name so late in the game when the Ram REV, oh, not the Ram REV, but the RamCharger was being delayed for months. The RamCharger should have been out, I think like a month or two ago when I looked at the initial UAW scheduling for when the vehicle was supposed to launch. And then they got pushed back again. And I'm pretty much going to assume they got pushed back again because of tariffs.
And this is the ultimate Ram truck. This is the all-new RamCharger, and this thing is an absolute beast. Over 660 horsepower, over 600 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. But the story is way bigger than that. This has its own built-in charging system. It's a battery electric truck with a 92 kilowatt-hour battery and a 130 kilowatt generator that charges all the time. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, whatever is optimal for efficiency. And because there's no direct mechanical path from the engine to the wheels, the power station charges straight to the battery, meaning you can bank power along the way to address what could be your range anxiety. The new RamCharger has been designed to pull more than 7 tons. It's been built to pull an entire skeptical demographic into the electric truck segment.
But I mean, like I said, it would make perfect sense to me if they're going to place that active trademark for the RamCharger on a new vehicle. And the best way I think they introduce a new vehicle that's not going to be a hybrid like the RamCharger was supposed to be is basically the platform share an existing vehicle, something that Tim Kniss is fond of, because he basically platform shared the Dodge Hornet and the Alfa Romeo Tonale. But I mean, of course, that's really like a bad example, because sure, it was a disaster because the majority of Americans didn't like Alfa Romeo, and it kind of doesn't make no sense to have like a real small SUV styled on a vehicle is not really popular in America in a segment that's like, you know, you're going to be one of the most expensive versions in that segment with the most horsepower, but that's not what that segment is looking for. And that's something Tim Kniss knowledge right here.
Hornet is going to be the same thing. When we looked at Hornet, we had the opportunity to share with the upcoming Tonale. And if you don't like the idea, you're quick to point out, well, this is badge engineering, isn't it? Well, no, I'd rather call it brand engineering. If I can take something that is already really cool and fit it into the brand and give it the brand DNA, give it the look, give it the driving dynamics, give it the steering, give it the suspension, give it the exhaust, give it the power, and give it the ability for customization, which is key to this brand, then I can make this thing fit into this space. And I was joking when we unveiled the car, this might be a disaster because we're going into a segment that's not asking for any of these things. None of them. If you look at why they buy compact UVs, it's very much a spreadsheet segment.
But as I said earlier, I think a Wagoneer body based on the TRX especially will look pretty cool, and I think it will work. I can imagine TRX interior, a third row, TRX drivetrain, and you can still have cheaper versions that they can make for the SUV to fit to more people. Like have like a 5.7 version or a Hurricane version for the engines and stuff. I think this would definitely work for Ram, but let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Should Ram gut a Wagoneer and stuff it full of TRX components to make basically like a TRX SUV? The only real difference is that the Wagoneer has independent rear suspension and stuff, but maybe the drivetrain with TRX would fit under this Wagoneer SUV style TRX body and stuff. But I think it'd be way cool, and I think this would be a great option for Ram. They have a very capable SUV with TRX guts, and in this new era, call it a RamCharger and stuff. I think that would definitely work. Make sure it have 4 doors and not 2 doors, but hey, it's better than nothing. And people might buy it more than a TRX because it'll be way more practical as an SUV than an off-road pickup truck that you can't really tow with, you can't really do much with, stuff like that. But and then, you know, if Ram gives you multiple engines and stuff to hit different price points, this might just be a great buy. 5.7 Hurricanes, HEMI V8s, Hellcats, 392s. This could be a very great option. And I think the sky's basically the limit. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. And if you want to check out the video that I made about the Ram Rail getting canceled and the RamCharger being renamed, you can check out this video right here. And until the next time, I am out.